Hello everyone, it's Anita and I make videos about fashion, travel, university, stuff like that, and also sometimes random things like today's video where I talk about language schools, my experience with language schools. If you saw some of my other videos, you know that I really like to learn languages. English is my third language. I also did one video about language apps. I'll link that down below. And next week's video is also language related because I did a language challenge. You'll see what it is. So today I thought I would just tell you what kind of language schools I went to which countries, and sort of my experience with each school, each country. And I'm going to talk about what language schools are like in general and if I think they're worth it. I've been to 3 language schools in 3 different countries. In the fall of 2013 I spent 4 weeks in Nice, France, and the year after that I went to Cambridge, England, and also stayed there for 4 weeks. And so that was in fall 2014, and in June 2015 I went to Boston, the USA, for 2 weeks. So like I said, the first language school I went to was in Nice, France, at the school. I just have some notes on my phone. The school's name is Azulinga. I guess it's because Côte d'Azur, Azurlinga, so yeah. We had to take an entry test at the beginning of our course, like at the very first day. I'm pretty sure that every language school does that in some shape or form. I took the regular course, which was 20 lessons per week, 45 minutes per lesson. Also, we got a course book and I was looking for it but I just couldn't find it. But they also printed out some worksheets and we worked with them. The teachers were very nice. Also, I didn't do YouTube back then, but I'm pretty sure I have some clips I took just to show my family, so if I find those I will include them. But I'm not sure if I have those for Nice because yeah, it was in 2013, so I'm sorry. But yeah, it was a typical language school classroom, very basic. I'll also link the school down below if you're interested. I stayed at a student house which is above the school, and I shared a room with my friend. We had our bathroom, but we had a kitchen to share with the other people on our floor, because I think there were 3 floors, yeah. I want to say my experience could have been better if I wasn't surrounded by my friend and other people from Switzerland. By the way, I'm from Switzerland, and there are a lot of Swiss people pretty much everywhere you go. You wouldn't think that because Switzerland is a small country, but let me tell you, we are everywhere. It's fine, but I want to say you will not learn your target language as fast if you surround yourself with people that speak your mother tongue or any other languages, you know. So I would definitely recommend going on your own. I mean, yes, I felt better to go with a friend. I just turned 18. That was the first time I spent so much time away from my family. So of course I was glad that I was with a friend. It was also more fun with a friend, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, spending 4 weeks in France, you know what I mean? It's fun. But language learning wise, it's not the best idea. So yeah, it might have been better if I went somewhere alone. Also, Nice is a cool city, don't get me wrong. If you're in places, in bigger cities, if you're a foreigner and they can tell that you don't speak French or not that well, they will automatically try to switch to English. Yeah, which is kind of frustrating. But if you're in France, I will actually recommend going to a smaller town to really learn a language. I think it's better to go somewhere where people will not just switch to English. So anyways, I did learn certain things. We had 2 teachers. They switched after 2 weeks, and the second teacher was very, very funny. His name is Eric, in case some of you want to go to the school and he still teaches there. I hope so, because he's very funny. The fact that I remember his name kind of shows that he was a really funny and good teacher. But the thing is, also here, I'm just going to say it, like language schools, you know, they're just there and you have to do the work. You get what you put in, you know what I mean? So if they give you homework, you should do your homework, like really also revise what you just learned and stuff like that, and that way you will get really far. Also, if you don't understand something, ask a teacher. You're in smaller groups, usually language schools, like you're not in a big classroom. I would really try to get out of it as much as possible. I'm sure I could have done more. After the course I got a little certificate. I have all my certificates in this binder thing, so yeah, it's really nice. These certificates are very nice if you are, for example, also applying to jobs, and you know, it might look good to prove your language level, because if you just say, oh, I had French in high school, they don't really know what level you are. But anyway, so that was my experience at Azulingua. I'll link it down below. A year later I went to Cambridge, England, and there we also had an entrance exam at the school, and there I had 28 lessons per week. So I was just at the advanced course, which I'm pretty sure was the highest level they had, and so I did that in the morning, and then I had business English course, I want to say in 4 afternoons of the week, so I'm pretty sure that I had Friday afternoon off. So they had different courses, and I was first put in another one, I would say, for like speaking or something like that, but I didn't really like the teacher, like how she taught, and I asked to be transferred to another course, and for like this business English, or I think it was English for work or something, they call it something like that, and that was also interesting because you get to, you know, learn other vocabulary, business related vocabulary, so that's really nice. And there I had a really great time there also, because I was staying at a host family, which is the, I want to say, other option. Language schools either offer to put you into like student housing or with host families. And for my school in Switzerland, we had to stay at host families. That was a requirement, and I also had to spend 4 weeks in an English-speaking country. That was a requirement for my school in Switzerland. And that's why we all went at the same time, and which is why a lot of people again from Switzerland are in those places at the same time. And anyway, so I had to stay at a host family, and I want to say my host family was the best one. Honestly, they were so nice, so cool, like, trying to actually do stuff. We watched movies in the evenings together, like talk and stuff like that, so they were really great. And that way you can also improve your language skills, because you spend so much time with native speakers. The only thing is that when I started to learn English, I kind of gravitated to the more American accent. Like, I'm not trying to fake an accent, but that was just kind of, I think, the easier accent for most people. And if you watch a lot of TV shows and movies, they're mostly American, so you kind of pick that up. And then when I went to England, my accent kind of changed a bit. Like it was kind of a mix of both accents. So, but I can't fake a British accent, and I think if I spent more time there, I would probably adapt to it naturally. But as of now, I don't. I just speak the way I do. You can kind of tell it. I'm a German speaker. You kind of hear the accent, and or it's more American than any other accent, I want to say, like Australian, or like, yeah, like I can't do that, no, not at all. Anyway, so that was kind of weird. So if you're trying to learn a specific accent, I would say go to that country. But other than that, it doesn't really matter. The teachers at the school were really great. We did homework, and they printed out worksheets, so we didn't have books. Also, the school organized a lot of activities. I didn't really participate in those. Like, I think they had like cookie baking evenings or movie evenings or stuff like that. But they organized trips around England, and that was really, really great, because every weekend I spent on one of those trips. It wasn't just for our language school, but for all the language schools in Cambridge. There are a lot of language schools there, so that was very interesting. Also from a culture perspective, because I went to different cities, museums, you know what I mean. So that was very interesting, and I highly recommend, if you're in a language school and they organize trips like that, I mean, if they're not too expensive, I would definitely go to some of them. Here I also got myself a certificate and also an academic report. So yeah, that's the school in Cambridge. The school's name is Studio Cambridge. I will also link it down below. Alright, so the last school, the most recent one, although it was in 2015, but whatever, was in Boston. I just went there for 2 weeks because I had that time off sort of after my high school exams until I had to go back to just get my results. There were like 2 weeks in between, so I thought I would go to the USA, and because I was completely alone, I thought it would be a good idea to just go to a language school. So you know, I had something to do, a place to stay, and wasn't completely alone. So I went to Boston with a language school. I want to say that's the most known language school, which is EF. EF stands for Education First, if I'm not mistaken, and they are everywhere. Like, that branch of language schools is everywhere. So I'm pretty sure also in Japan, and I want to say they opened one in Korea as well, so you know, like everywhere. And it's also very expensive, and they have their like system. They kind of sell you the like fancy modern system and this and that, and I'm pretty sure it's the most expensive school. Before I even go into that, I'm just going to tell you that you don't need to go to the most expensive language school, and even if it does seem fancier, trust me, the experiences are pretty similar everywhere. I can just tell you, like, it's fine. You can go to the cheapest language school. I mean, yeah, read the reviews. I honestly don't think that you need to go with EF. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry if someone's watching from EF. Like, I mean, I had a good experience, but I'm just saying it because I know that a lot of people spend so much money on language schools, so I just thought I would say now that you don't need to spend that much money to learn something or get a good, or to have a good experience. Let's get into my experience there. So I did an entry test online and did that at home. I don't know how many weeks before you actually went to the school, but they obviously needed enough time to evaluate your results and put you in the right class. And there I took a regular course, which was 26 lessons per week. I initially wanted to take more lessons, but the thing is, if you take, I don't know how many hours per week, you would need a student visa for the US, which would be super annoying to do all that work, go to the embassy and get a visa if you only stay there for 2 weeks like I did. So I thought, you know what, I don't need that. I'm just going to take a normal regular course. But there was also which still had your level course and another course you could take. So I was in the advanced course, and for like my additional course that I could take, I took advanced discussion, and I only had 2 options to take, either advanced discussion or advanced grammar. If you look at EF, their brochure or online or whatever, it always says like, oh, there you can take different courses, and they put like what courses you might be able to take, like photography, journalism, this and that, like very fun courses like film and media or whatever. But these are not necessarily available, and that was the case for me because I only had the choice between advanced discussion or advanced grammar, which are both, yeah, useful courses, but it's, if you go there, you probably think that you might get to do another fun course. If you're, for example, really interested in photography and you see that, oh, you might do a photography course, and then you go to the school and you find out that that's not actually available, you might be disappointed. So I'm just saying it here that yes, they have different courses, but it really depends on your level and on the availability for you to take it. So I'm just going to put it out there, like, don't expect the most fun courses just because they're listed in their brochure or online or whatever. Like, the courses itself were great, you know, no complaints. We also got 2 course books. This one, it's pretty much like, we didn't use that. That's more for yourself if you want to practice. And then we had one that was actually for the course. You know, it's like a fun, colorful book. What's special about EF is that they have a language lab. I think that's what I call it, like a computer lab. And you spend, I want to say, like 4 lessons, I'm not sure, per week in that lab, and you practice on the computer, which you can look at whatever way you want to. One way would be like, oh, you could do that at home. Why do you need to be at the school and pay that much money to do that? But on the other hand, like, it can complement your learning. In your very last language lab, you have to take a final test to determine the language level you reached after your course time. And they call it the EF Standard English Test. And I think that itself is interesting with EF. I'm not sure how many language schools do that. In France, the teacher sort of put my level on the certificate, like just the level he thought I was in. But with EF, you really do a test, so it's not just one opinion. It's a computer test, and yeah. So I can also show you that I gave a really fancy certificate. Here I had my like course certificate and like my course report. That's the certificate of achievement for after the test, like the final test, and they said that I have achieved the C2 level. Also there I stayed at the student housing. They have that in the school. The school itself looks like Hogwarts. Like the school itself looks very nice. I also love Boston. I love the city. And yeah, they also have organized trips and activities and stuff like that. So they do a great job with that. So I stayed at the school. I shared my room with 2 other people. We had to share a bathroom with several other rooms. And oh yeah, breakfast and dinner was included. So they had a cafeteria. Now I'm trying to quickly give a general overview of language schools. Like I already mentioned with my language school in France, it's kind of your job to make the best of it. I have to say I don't recommend going to a language school if you already reached a high level. I would say it's pretty good, probably for beginners. Like if you don't know anything or just like your basic phrases, you will learn a lot at a language school. But if you're already at an upper intermediate, advanced level, I don't really know how much worth it really is to go to a language school, because you already know your vocabulary, you already know your grammar, at least the basic grammar. I personally wouldn't recommend going to a language school if you're already advanced in that language, you know what I mean? It's kind of I don't want to say waste of money, but yeah. Also, if you're at a school, don't go with friends to that language school. Don't just hang out with the people who speak your language. That's not really helpful. Yeah, if you're there, like, enjoy your time there, explore the city, explore the country, the culture, whatever, but also do your homework, revise, like really try to make the best of it. And yeah, but generally I think that you can learn languages also without going to a language school. If you've been to a language school, please share your experience, because for me personally it was a great time, but I don't think that it was absolutely necessary. But that's just my opinion. If you want to go, just try to make the best of it. You don't need to go to the most expensive school, trust me. Yeah, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you have specific questions about the schools I've been to, the places I've been to, I'm happy to help. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And yeah, it would also make my day if you'd subscribe to my channel. Like I said, next week's video is also language related if you're interested in that. Or like I said, I do all kinds of videos. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye!